Hi there. How's it going, everybody? Good to see you. I'm Ryan, or whatever. Doesn't matter. Wonderful to see you today. Alright, well, I've been putting out a few videos lately, and it's been pretty fun. A lot of cool stuff's been going on. Rapid rates of acceleration here in all of consciousness. I don't know if you've been feeling this amazing smoothness, this phenomenal centeredness, this balance that's coming in, this harmony that's being realized. It's amazing. So phenomenal. So I had two videos that I tried to post. One was called Hello Self Part 1, and the other one was Hello Self Part 2. Hello Self Part 1 didn't really come in because I was trying to do that using my Wi-Fi hotspot, and, well, what do you know, I didn't have enough gigs. It took like 15 gigs of data to put on those two videos, or maybe 3 altogether, but that's pretty cool. 4 or 5, I don't know, either way. So the 2-hour-long part 1 will eventually be downloaded or uploaded to the internet to this site. But right now I figure I'm just going to start other videos. I'm going to start doing whatever else. Seems to be a really powerful flow right now, so I just want to get some of these downloads out. I actually believe that just the throat sound alone, the tone, ooh, is actually really all that's needed to hear. So if you can stay present with me and just move on along, we're gonna try to get this done real quick like. And by quick, I don't know, it could take 5,000 days, it could take 1 hour, it could take 2 seconds, it doesn't matter. I mean, whatever anybody's ready to do. If you have the faith, it will rise on its own, all of the cities, all of the blessings, all of the amazing blossoming and blooming of the most magical, phenomenal natural consciousness that's constantly pervading all things and constantly permeating all layers and constantly radiating from the insides of every being everywhere without one exception, to the smallest of atomic particles, to the subtle energies, to the largest of all bodies, and whatever else could be possibly fathomed or imagined, visualized within the realms and dimensions of whatever is possible to be perceived and possible to be expressed truly. It's amazing, whatever it is. Oh my goodness. Well, it's very good to see you all again. Wonderful to be here now. Feeling just fantastic. I can't even tell you. It's amazing. So I quit smoking a few days ago, and I'm telling you, I'm feeling top-notch. So you'll find in Hello Self Part 1, I was still smoking. I was trying to figure out if it was good for me or not. It was really scratching my throat. I had this person come by and trying to tell me it was restructuring my DNA, and that's all good. Maybe it does that. Who knows? It doesn't matter. But for anyways, they're talking about wherever they are on their point of the path. Well, I happen to be where I am on my path, and on my path, I don't need somebody else to tell me what's good for me, because I have a strong intuition. I know what it feels like to directly experience whatever it is that I'm directly experiencing. So for you, if smoking is good, then that's terrific. If it's not good, then hey, make a choice. Do you want to do something that doesn't feel good for the rest of your life, or do you want to do something that does feel good? It's just your choice. For me, I didn't want to do it anymore. I didn't feel like it was good for me. I was like, man, and I really love myself. I don't want to do something that's not good for my throat. I don't want to do something that takes me out of the channel of the moment and liberating all beings everywhere without one exception with my every action. I mean, I don't want to get distracted like that. I don't know why I really need to. And so recently, since the stopping of marijuana and tobacco, I have been feeling way here on point in the present moment and really confident, actually. My voice has been coming back. I'm not as scratchy here. It's been healing up real nice, and that was wonderful because I was really worried that I was starting to lose something. But as it turns out, no matter where you are on your path, no matter what happens, no matter what merit you've built, you cannot lose that merit. Now, you may lose touch with the idea or the belief or the feeling that you have achieved that merit. You may think that you've lost it, and then you may go through an illusory reality where you feel as if that is true, and you're going around and creating all the actions of that truth. You're like, look, see, I can't even sing anymore, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, and that's just, your own beliefs. So that's the power of your mind. And the power of our minds are really, really, really phenomenal. Now, I will say one more thing, that mind in Buddhism is your heart. But this is all the power of the mind. Look at all of it. The manifestation of the mind. It's amazing. How phenomenal. You've created all of it. Wow. But who's the you? Now, let's see. Your mind, right. Oh, okay. Anyways, let's move along quickly. So, how do we get out of these stories? How do we get out of these identities? How do we get ourselves into our true awareness of being? Well, I can't really tell you what's good for you. That would be insane for me to try to do, because I would have to be inside of your perspective. I mean, if you come to me, I can hear you, I can listen to you, I can determine really easily like what's going on, what kind of obscuration, what kind of solution, antidote there is for that kind of obscuration on the path, like what it was, because I've been through a lot of different parts of myself, I know a lot of different parts of myself, I directly experienced these teachings and understood them and got through them, and now I'm able to transfer them, and it's really wonderful. I'm learning more and more every day, it's coming into context, and I'm seeing a great need for this information in the world right now, because we have a lot of warriors of truth out there, a lot of amazing emissaries of truth. I love you guys, thank you so much. We are so right there, don't you worry, we're almost all the way in right there. Well, really, we are all the way in, actually. We've already won, we're victorious, we're already all the way we need to go, but we're almost in the full realization of this, and that's an amazing thing. To realize harmony in that manner, to come into the embodiment of that confidence of our full state of being, our true state of being, our amazing, limitless, pure awareness that we fully, truly are, expressing constantly the divine, in utter perfection. It's amazing. So we're stepping into that, we're falling into that, it's happening all on its own, it's just coming in. So just be here, be present, be now. We've got this, have confidence. You know, if you need to go through whatever you need to go through in order to bring that confidence to you, then that's awesome. Don't you worry. If you stumble from this point on, if you fall down into a deep, dark chasm, don't you worry, my friend. And if you are worrying, that's okay. Just, you know, just make it through whatever that is. If you need to worry to get past worry, then worry to get past worry. Do whatever you need. I wouldn't reject any feeling. I like what Osho said. When something comes up, just be that. Whatever it is, just be what you are now truly. Whatever it is. If you're feeling sad and lonely, then okay, great, be sad and lonely. And then once you're there, being sad and lonely, not rejecting it, just fully embodying that frequency, will then be subject to the law of impermanence and will have to change. It's an amazing concept. It's a phenomenal idea. It's something that I have proven to be true from my own direct experience, but for you, you will have to prove it in your direct experience. You won't be able to take just my word for it. It won't be solid and founded in that kind of a manner. You have to experience this yourself. And so there's a lot of teachers bringing us this way, that way, and the other way, but I want you to know that you're a limitless being right now, instantaneously. At this very moment, you will not become a limitless being. You have not attained limitlessness. You have always been this, and that's the most amazing thing. I have always been this. We have always been this. We are always there, always where we need to be, in utter perfection with the most amazing of abilities, and all it takes is for our knowing, for us to embody this, for us to step into that now moment, into that presence with no hesitation, knowing who we are and taking hold, control, the responsibility, taking our life in our hands. And maybe that means releasing our control. Maybe that means letting go. Maybe that means relaxing. Feeling like there's nothing that we need to do, that there's nothing that we have to do. As we continue to reach out into the world around us to affect change in some kind of a way, we're constantly unsettling the dirt in the bottom of the river and we're muddying the water. So I would really like to advise or guide anybody who's listening to this and can hear this to please, please, please take your feet out of the water. Allow the river to settle on its own and just be there with yourself. Be present with you now and just learn and self-realize this is the best you can do for all of us. This is the most amazing thing. And as you realize in the wisdom of non-action, sharing your truth with the world, you're no longer creating waves of duality. So please, if we can find this heart space within us, this place of equanimity, this place of singularity, this place where no separation exists, then we will find where we sit now is that same place. This over here or this over there, it is all that same place. There is not a dual, no matter how it appears. It's interesting too that we think there should be two. I've said this I think once before in a video because it's just like, look how many there are. Look, there has to be two. Well, no, if you're really looking like a scientific mind, logically, there has to be billions and trillions and quadrillions of things. But there's only one. So, that's amazing, isn't it? It doesn't take away, it adds to. We'll just see what that means later. It's okay, we'll come back to our one point of focus here through our meditation, through our breath practice, whatever it is that we happen to be guided to from our own personal paths. I am going to be transferring data from my path. Now, you could do your best to walk my path or whatever it is. I mean, it's going to be impossible. Now, if you want to do the same different things that I do, that's terrific, that's wonderful. I would suggest going from where I started. And where I started was searching for who I was. That's what I wanted to know. Who am I? What is my purpose? And so I went into a medicine ceremony and I set intention for this, and I set intention for it to write my path and to make my intention true. I gave permission to all of consciousness to make sure that I was in alignment with my divine light purpose for the benefit of all beings everywhere without one exception. Now this was a very amazing thing. This was a very important step that I took. This step was a pure step. When I gave permission and released my control, when I gave up my choice and my ego in this way, this was giant. Now, do I know if you can do it in this same manner? I mean, we are equal. We are the same. There is nothing that I have of greater potential than you from the makeup. So I do not know what path you will take or how it will go. If you can actually go the same route that I have not wanted to advise people to my path, actually. I have wanted to advise people to a much safer, much more easy path, which is probably the path of self-inquiry, like Ramana Maharshi or Muji Baba or whoever else is trying to spread this message. And I really love Ramana, by the way. Really phenomenal man. Really seems to understand in such a great manner. So beautiful, so loving, so happy, so gorgeous. I don't know very much about him, but I look at him and I'm like, wow, bro. Wow, just such an amazing beauty in this phenomenal man. I was going to call him an Indian man, but I don't actually know if Ramana's from India. I believe that he's from India. I mean, that's what I think, but I don't know that, so I'm not going to say that specifically. I like to be impeccable with my word. This is something that I really love. I love the 4 Toltec truths, or the 4 agreements, Toltec wisdom. Be impeccable with your word. Don't take things personally. Don't make assumptions. And always do your best. And this last one I want to say, don't you worry. Always doing your best, that's what you're always doing. So whenever you find that you've slipped on the other 3, it's okay. Not a problem. You're doing your best, you're doing awesome. Now from this point forward, go on. Return to the impeccability. Return to the not taking things personally. Return to the not making of assumptions. And if we live by these things, it will be very easy to see what's going on here in consciousness, along with understanding what is happening within the mirror. Now, I would really love to point people towards well, the Tao. I love the Tao, but also Buddhism. I am a practitioner of Tibetan Buddhism, or I have been, and apparently my life is actually a practice of Tibetan Buddhism in the Tao, and I'm just naturally this way, and it went through this amazing focus, this phenomenal thing. But they have some of the greatest and purest teachings in all of consciousness. Whenever I read the words of Buddhist wisdom, I am elated with this amazing feeling of the most phenomenal beings in wisdom, the most compassionate beings I've ever seen. I really love this amazing stuff, I gotta tell you for sure. Amazing teachers. I mean, I followed the path of first Catholicism when I was born, and then I went on to learning things about ki energy. I thought I was going to go to hell, so I was like, okay, I got to get away from Catholicism. I read something about astral projection, and they're like, oh, you can go to the astral realm. This is awesome. I was like, oh, I don't have to go to heaven or hell. I can choose where I go. Oh, this is much better, because I'm probably going to go to hell if I'm picking between the two, because I think I'm a sinner. I don't know. I mean, so that was really worrying. I thought I was kind of like the worst guy in the family the whole time. So I was like, damn, I'm destined for hell here, so I got to make an escape. So I found out about ki energy and working energy, moving energy through my body, gathering in my stomach, moving it up my arms, down my shoulders, out of my palms, into the center of my being, to form a ball. And it was a really cool thing. And then me and my brother started looking up different meditation practices, different stuff like that. It kind of fell away as I began to disbelieve it, because I couldn't see it myself. I wasn't sure if it was true. And then I thought maybe people were lying to me. So my skepticism came in and really got in the way of that. Soon later, you know what I mean, I went on. I still was looking at the occult, tarot cards, fortune telling, what kind of things maybe we could do with our minds, telekinesis, telepathy, just here and there. I'm not the greatest of studiers, so in passing when talking to people, that's where I would get my information, mostly from word of mouth. And I went through a ridiculous life, I gotta tell you. I was constantly screwing up. I joined the army when I was 17. I screwed that up by the time I was 19. I went on the run from the law. I went down to Miami. I was illegal for a whole year or so. Young kid in a city, never lived in a city before. Oh my goodness, was life difficult, but also very amazing. A lot of different really phenomenal experiences were occurring while I was down there. And also, because I went down there, that's why I have a daughter today. That's amazing. She's 10 years old. We have never hung out That's okay, not a problem. Her mom has totally changed her tone and reality, and everything's moving along with that just nicely. But here we are in surrender to the universe. So let's liberate all beings, and let's do that first, okay? Here we go. All right. And so, after the Catholicism, the occult, and all these different things, tarot readings, eventually, again, going on the run from the law, getting in trouble again in another city on a high-speed chase, and going to jail for a month or so, then coming back to the other place I'd run from, and going to jail there for a little bit longer, and then getting out, getting with a girl who was all kinds of trouble, and into all kinds of different stuff, and then having my job lose its hours, me in the middle of the winter staying in a van with this girl because she got kicked out of her place for seeing me and all these different things. We ended up going on this crazy journey down to West Virginia, and from West Virginia, just all of a sudden, man, like we were in this Huntington State Park, or no, Beach Fork State Park near Huntington, West Virginia. That's it. Getting some information mixed. All right, so at Beach Fork State Park, it was amazing. We ended up tripping on cough and cold medicine. That was a pretty interesting occasion, I gotta tell you, because the time we started to come up on our robo trip, we were already halfway up the mountain, so we're on this crazy incline, and I no longer knew where this was, so I felt like I was falling straight down. I pulled her, the dog, we all went out there. It was a crazy misadventure. That wasn't really a misadventure, but it was like, whoa. I ended up digging my hands into the ground eventually, once they could actually make it up on their own, and bear crawling the rest of the way up, running like an animal. It was insane. Got up to the top of that rock formation, and finally realized that everything was made for us and us for them, and us for it. It was amazing. I sat on this amazing rock moss that was softer than a Tempur-Pedic mattress, and I realized that everything is completely made for us here. Everything. And we're made for it as well. After that, we smoked our last bowl. We had an amazing banjo sound coming through the mountainside. It was phenomenal. It was like only caught it in echoes too. And then I got like this feeling of deliverance. Like, ooh, are we about to have some kind of hillbillies come up and give us trouble? It was cool. Eventually, we went over to Huntington, West Virginia after that. Super snowy there, big city, another scary kind of place. First guy we meet happens to be like some crazy dude he says he's like the ARA, American Revolutionary Army or something. We're like, whoa, that's crazy, bro. What's that about? It was completely nonsense, really. But we started to go with him to the Occupy movements, which was kind of cool. That was a fun time. We got down to Chattanooga, Tennessee. He ended up getting it shut down. Woo! But during this time, I gained a ridiculous faith in Christianity. Now that was really cool, because we started to rock with God, and we started to walk in faith, and that was an amazing thing, because everywhere we happened to go, we were always in the right place at the right time. Everywhere. We go down the wrong road, and we somehow ended up at the right place. Everything. Every day, it was another amazing blessing, a phenomenal coincidence that could no longer be seen to be coincidence. This was before I understood the word synchronicity. And I was like, man, this was an amazing thing. So what's going on here, you know? All right, so great faith, all these amazing experiences. Christianity happened. Amazing. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, God. Experienced healing, experienced amazing growth. It was all started when I prayed in Kansas, where I had gotten in trouble. And I had started to pray, and then all these Christians just started helping me. Christians just came out of the woodwork all over the place, started helping me, preaching to me the Word of God. I went to jail, and every time I started to lose faith on the Word of God, somebody else came in and started to give me the Word of God again. And that was all the necessary products and medicines and antidotes I needed to get me to the next stage of life, to West Virginia, to Chattanooga, Tennessee, where I lived in a van for 8 months in utter faith, and the most amazing blessings constantly befalling me. And my girlfriend gave away our dog and our van and all this stuff because I went to jail for 2 days for missing a drug test, but I wasn't smoking. So they let me out 2 days after. And yeah, all that stuff was gone. But right after that, I got super duper blessed, and then all these other things happened. And once I finally got to this other place with this other woman, she didn't have the faith in Christianity like I had. Well, she did, like me, obviously, and she was interested in certain other things. I ended up getting in touch with Spirit Science. I don't know if you've ever seen Spirit Science, but Spirit Science is a really amazing program that really helped me open up in my life. And I'm really happy for that cute little cartoon that was easy to watch and phenomenal to pay attention to. They really opened me up to crystals and different grids of energy, cycles, just so many different informations were really coming through at that time about energy and all these things. And for me, that was the bridge that I needed between my esoteric side, that was energy worker side, and the Christian side that has now come. And so I wanted to merge the two. And I was like, okay, how do I merge both of these? Well, I'd go and I'd talk to the pastors, and I'd be like, hey, you know, this is some of the information I have, this is some of my direct experience. When I experience this healing through prayer, I experience this healing coming through, the Holy Spirit coming through, Jesus coming through as energy. And so I believe that the Holy Spirit is really energy, and it's a source. And so where I see that the pharaohs, people could do the same thing as Moses, it was simply they were pulling energy from themselves in a selfish, egoic way, and Moses would have had to been pulling it from source in a very beautiful, amazing way, a very powerful manner, is what I had been assuming at the time. You know, this was some of the things that were precursing my beliefs, my thoughts, my ideas, what were causing me to look at things in certain manners. And as I'm talking to the pastor, you know, it's not much help. Not a lot of people are really big on it. I mean, the stuff that I am learning and the place that I'm learning it is kind of seen to be like blasphemous in some way, or like kind of devilish, satanic. Like people would actually pray against people doing things that I was learning about. So that was a really interesting thing, a pretty strange controversy inside of me, contradicting myself in certain manners, feeling like this part is true and that this part is true, wanting to merge them, but then having people say no, 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 and nobody really being able to combine. So I'm like, oh, well, you know, I've had this amazing experience here, I've had this amazing experience here, how do I make these things one? So eventually, this place opened up in Chattanooga, Tennessee called the Center for Mindful Living. Now that's an amazing place, super awesome, a meditation center right there in Chattanooga, Tennessee. People can't really believe it. So it was based on Buddhist practices, different things. There was a Tai Chi class that we went to there. We went to twice. It was just 5 basic moves. It was really cool. I really wanted to go because earlier I had this amazing experience where I thought that I had known Tai Chi. I had gone into this crazy trance state, these motion. I was moving energy like nobody's business. And apparently I knew exactly what I was doing, but I was the observer. So I was watching myself know exactly what I was doing while not knowing what I was doing, and then later finding out what I had done. And now that was really sweet. I thought that was powerful, and so this was a huge glimpse. I was like, I really need to tap into this thing so that I can do this constantly all the time. And apparently I don't need to go anywhere and learn, because apparently there's a part of me that already knows. So how do I connect with this part of me that already knows and embody that? That's what I really wanted to know. It was just utter magic. It didn't make any sense. I mean, if I told somebody about it, they didn't seem very excited. But I mean, if you would have experienced it, it seems extremely exciting. I don't know, if I saw somebody do something crazy, I'd be like, holy crap, bro, you did this amazing thing. It's like, you know, I don't know, maybe I'm more egoic or something, I don't know. I get really excited. I'm kind of like a kid. And so, these amazing things were occurring. Finally, I got to read this amazing book at the Center for Mindful Living. We were going to a meditation practice at the time called Tara Mandala, by the way. I had no idea who Arya Tara was. Arya Tara happens to be the sacred feminine deity for Buddhism. Yeah, it's the female Buddha. You could say that. Tara, Arya Tara, the sacred feminine, the embodiment, the true embodiment of the sacred feminine. And that's amazing. I love Arya Tara. Anyways, but I had no idea who Tara was. I had no idea what a mandala was. A mandala is 4 points with a fifth center, you know, 4 directions, the center in the middle. So most temples are shaped in mandala fashions. There's other ways that you can say mandalas. There's African mandalas. There's these kinds of mandalas. I'm talking about Tibetan Buddhist mandala. I don't know if there's different mandalas in Buddhism, but I said Tibetan Buddhism because I practiced Tibetan Buddhism. This woman that I was going to practice to was apparently, she also was practicing Tibetan Buddhism. It was through her that I went to my first retreat center and learned different Tibetan Buddhist practices, which I will say I was not the greatest disciplined practitioner, but then again, it turns out that I was perfect for my path. And so, I'm not going to down myself in any way, but I will say that I was not as astute as many there. In my discipline, in my seeming devotion, but actually, you know, I was really in the heart of it. I really wanted it. I just wasn't sure about it. And it's okay. It's hard to gain certain motivations for things when you don't need to be doing those things. So don't worry, you know. I had a different part. I had a different play. If I would have got into that, I would have been stuck there and attached to that, and I couldn't do that because there was a lot more stuff that I personally had to do on my path. So I would definitely recommend not to judge yourself for any part of your path. You know, if you're not there anymore, it's not for you. Don't worry about it. It's okay. Wherever wherever you are is where you're meant to be, and it's perfectly where you're meant to be. I love you so very much. And if you don't like where you are, hey man, go ahead. Get the heck out of there. You know, what are you waiting for? Go on. Go where you want to be, wherever it is. I don't know. Some people want to be in the cold. Some people want to be in the warm. Some people want to be around people. Some people don't want to be around people. Some people want to be over there and over there and over there. Some people want to work. Some people don't want to work. You know, just do whatever your heart decides you want to do. I mean, I'm not trying to guide you or lead you based on my path, but I am trying to share an experience with you that I think would be very helpful. And so, here we go. Anyways, and I'm trying to get through this a little bit quickly because it's just a little bit of the backstory. And I really like the backstory. I would love to go into greater detail about that, but I'm not trying to do that right now at this moment. And if you would like to hear greater detail about any of these things, please feel free to reach out to me, message me privately, whatever it is that is possible for us to do. And I'm here for you all the time. I mean, I got nothing but time for you. Now, I will say, though, I'm not going to be here for you if you're not willing to learn. So if you're not going to be present with me, if you're not going to be honoring the moment, the teaching that are coming through, that are constantly just surging through me endlessly, then, if it's not going to benefit you, then it's not going to benefit me, and I'm just not going to be somewhere where it's not beneficial. That's all. You know, and I love you dearly, and I hope that you won't take offense if it's just not the time, you know. But I'm going to definitely be there as long as you're there. As long as you think that you can do it, we'll be there together. I love you so much. Now, I will trust myself, though, and if I decide for some reason my intuition's strong and I'm like, hey, bro, we got to take a break right now, you know, I'm going to have to do that. I'm going to always be in love with myself, always know my own intuition. I'm always going to do what's right for me. Because if it's not right for me, it's not right for anybody, that's for sure. If it's not right for you, it's not right for anybody, that's for sure. Because we're all one. So everything is self. So it's not good for yourself, it's not good for yourself. It's very obvious, it's very simple, it's very clear, it's very cut and dry, it's very black and white in that kind of a manner. It's very, 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 very simple, these things. Very simple. And I'm transferring the teachings that come from my life. I mean, because I didn't actually learn these teachings through Buddhism. So I did get a lot of empowerments through Buddhism, and it was probably because of these empowerments, the blossoming of these lotuses, and the amazing cities and blessings that were coming from my Rinpoches and my Lamas and all the amazing beings that I was meeting, that really helped transfer these, give bloom to these seeds that were inside of me already. So that's another reason why I would actually be leading in that way in just a little bit, in a little fashion, because it does have an amazing essence to it, a good way to show ourselves how to really carry ourselves in a way that is in alignment with all of our sacred consciousness, you know. And so, okay. Anyways, and so at this retreat center where I was practicing Tara Mandala meditation, not really realizing what Tara Mandala was, they happened to have a library. And inside that library was an amazing book called The Eightfold Path by Lama Surya Das. That's Lama Surya, Surya Das, D-A-S. I'm not paid to promote for him, but I just think that it's an amazing thing, and I really want to share that book. And if you want to read that book helped me. That's where I found out I was a seeker. I was reading all these other things. I was doing my very best to find out about soul signs, zodiac, whatever it was. What is my path? What is my purpose? How can I help the most? So when I found out about this book and began reading it, which the amazing woman that I was going to the meditation with, she had said that she had read it and it changed her life. So this was a great motivator, you know. Man, I realized that this man was talking about me my whole life. I had been nothing but curious. I was like, man, I really have to figure out what's going on with myself, reality, my subconscious. What is all this spirit stuff? What is going on? What is the truth, you know? I wanted to know. I wanted to figure it out. And I wanted to do my best to be the best for everything that I could possibly be. The most that I could possibly be. You see, I thought, and I was sure, that each and every one of us had every gift possibility within us. That means telekinesis, telepathy, teleport, to anything possible that you can think of a human being able to do. I believe that each and every one of us could do that. And so it was all about unlocking that secret or hidden potential within. Now, how would we do that? So this sent me on so much different tasks and journeys. Now I would get, into the world a bit. I had to work, or I had to see a girl, or I would drink, or I would do whatever it was, But each and every time, any conversation that I ever had, there was still the one thing on my mind. And so when I read this book, I realized for sure I was a seeker, just like Mr. Lama Surya Das. And I was like, wow, I would really love to go and see these amazing monks and see this amazing practice. When I read the teachings of the Eightfold Path, I could tell that loving kindness and wisdom was just so amazing. I was like, oh my goodness, this sings to my heart, my soul, my everything. I want to be like these men. I want to be like the Buddha. I want to be like the Dalai Lama. I began doing walking meditation to Chinese traditional music, which I found in Chinese traditional music that I probably knew, Tai Chi. I just started to move with it after watching a movie. I was able to learn from a movie as if I was learning from a teacher. It was amazing. Empathy. When you look at something, you really embody that frequency. I remember watching movies and afterwards literally feeling like the main character. I'd be standing and I would feel like his face was my face. And I'd be like, it was amazing. What a strange quality and texture. And this is a teaching that I like to point out of how everything in the path is the Dharma. Absolutely everything. For a being that is prepared for enlightenment, that is prepared for liberation, that is ready, all of life, all of the path, no matter what it is, to the greatest, to the most mundane, all of those things will be the teaching for this being. And so movies, stories, conversations, whatever it is, you know, it's the stuff, man. It'll all be the teaching for this amazing man, this amazing being, whoever it is. I'm really, really, really possible. It's really amazing, and wow. Anyway, so, here we are. So I read this amazing book. After reading that, I knew for sure I was a seeker. I just couldn't help but seek. All I was doing was reading constantly. Man, my family won't read this. I gotta read this for them. I gotta do something. Okay, the apocalypse is coming. All these different fears. It was great to think the apocalypse might come. I had this amazing dream that I was like, repent now! The apocalypse is upon us! You know, the revelation is here! I had this amazing dream. I was trying to tell all my family. They wouldn't listen to me. I was like, ah! That scared the crap out of me, man. I was like, dude, I gotta get this done. I gotta transfer this information. I'm the man of the household. I gotta do something. Oh my goodness. It was crazy, but I wasn't into my girlfriend anymore. I wasn't into anything. All I was into was the books and the learning and the growth into my limitless state of being. I didn't know to call it that at the time, but I was looking for whatever it was, this enlightenment. What was this? How do I be as the Buddha? How do I be as Jesus? How do I be as these amazing men, these ascended masters that have gone before and have been the most compassionate and done the most possible work for all beings everywhere that any person could ever do? I must be like these men. I didn't know of any women at the time that were doing this. It wasn't until I went to Tara Mandala that I learned the Aryatara and Machig Labdrung. Machig Labdrung, the first female to gain enlightenment from my understanding, as my Lama, Lama Sostra Malione, who gave me my refuge vows and my Bodhisattva vows, and the most amazing love and empowerments and phenomenal teachings in space held that I had ever had, and I'm so happy for her. The last thing she said to me was, I love you, and I was not open to it because I was so upset, but it was okay. It was me. It was me. She didn't do me wrong in any way. It was me. I was lying. I was not able to be honest with her, and for this, I could say that I was sorry, but I am not sorry in one way, and that is because it has brought me where I am today perfectly, and so I see it as perfection. I will say thank you, Lama Sostra Malione, for understanding the perfection of the path, understanding that it was what I needed to do at the time. I love you so dearly, and should I ever see you again, should we ever meet again, should I ever speak with you again in person, I will be honest with you, full through. Thank you so much for everything, for leading me, for guiding me, for being my cosmic mother. Thank you, my divine mother, Lama Sostra Malione, for giving birth to Rigsal Wangpo. Ryan Harris. Thank you, the powerful man of radiant awareness. Thank you. And so, after my girlfriend ends up giving me an ultimatum to leave, I didn't accept it. I was rebellious, and I looked at my phone, and all of a sudden I had this amazing email from this Tara Mandala meditation about a Tara Mandala retreat center and a volunteer position for the summer. Now, I was imagining some faraway place in the Himalayan mountains, and it turned out it was in Colorado, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. There's going to be so many Tibetans there, and it's going to be a phenomenal practice. Well, there wasn't that many Tibetans there, but it was a phenomenal practice, and it was an extremely sacred land, and I'm so happy that I went there. Like, oh my goodness, what a phenomenal place to be. Oh my goodness. I thought that they weren't going to allow smoking, but they did, and then they eventually didn't, which is one of the reasons why I was asked to leave. Both times I was asked to leave, because I could not stop smoking. And here we are, not smoking today. Of course, it's been 5 days. But it's a process. And smoking was a perfection of the path. All of these things were necessary. all of these different processes. So I'm happy that they were with me for as long as that they were with me until it was time for them to fall away naturally, instead of forcing, which I had, and and it was all the natural flow of life. So everything being perfection. What an amazing thing. What a phenomenal blessing. Okay, so Tara Mandala, Buddhism, Tibetan Buddhism, the Nyingma Kagyu lineages. Now these are phenomenal practices. These are amazing teachings. These are blessings that I cannot describe. Blessings upon blessings upon blessings. This is where I got so much understanding. I learned so much. I thought that I wasn't learning much from my teachers, but I was gaining so many empowerments for so many deep practices in this Tantric Buddhism and Mahayana, Suchayana, Vajrayana, the three yanas, and many other practices. Empowerments for Guru Yoga. And I'm telling you, I did not practice these practices that I was empowered for. I mean, most of the time they say you get powered the long, then you are dedicated. You are committed to these practices. Well, perhaps I am committed to these practices in a manner that we are not quite aware of personally, because I have been through Prajnaparamita in a way that I was never told to go through Prajnaparamita. I had no idea the Golden Buddha could possibly be a star being or any of these things, but these things have occurred. So, enough of this or that. Enough of the esoteric mysticism. I just love Buddhism. I love Buddhism. I see Buddhism and I'm like, wow, you are so pure, so egoless, so amazing. Shakyamuni Buddha, Padmasambhava, Vajrasattva, Avalokiteshvara, Amitabha, all these amazing, phenomenal beings. Milarepa, Marpa, oh, goodness, there's just so many phenomenal beings of egoless wisdom. Just egoless wisdom, you know, it's like, whoa, oh my goodness, understanding the mirror of consciousness. So I'm going to transfer the data of my experience that I have learned that I don't believe is tied into the tradition in a way that would cost me or cause me to have to be in a secretive manner. I know that there are teachings from other people in other ways that are secretive, but I believe that that is the point of my path leading me far away from the temple, was so that they would bloom on their own, and that I would be able to use my own discernment and discretion as to how to share them. And I wouldn't be tied into any rules or blockages or limitations when it comes to this, because the way in which I wish to transfer this data is the way in which this data has not been transferred to this date. There hasn't been a Westerner that has reached these kinds of achievements or realizations that has been able to transfer this in this kind of an articulation in the language, in the English language. And so I see that there is a place, there is a spot for this. And so I wish to do this. And how do I do this? Well, all I can do is relay to you my direct experience. I cannot give you an experience of your own. I can actually have experiences with you. We can have really incredible experiences. It will take a ridiculous amount of presence, though. You have to be a phenomenal student if you really want to gain in a big way. So if you wish to watch me in some manner or come to me in some way, you know, we can be there interacting together. We can do a great many of other things. I can't really say what it would be like, as every moment is like a fingerprint. Every moment is extremely different and unique. Everything is a particular soup and the mixtures of energy of that particular moment. So yesterday this fly wasn't here and that bug wasn't over there, and this wave of wind was shaped in this other way, and this wave of ocean was moving in this different manner, and this person wasn't walking by and that guy wasn't over there. So we have a different soup of every day. You know, if everybody was moving the exact same steps every day, then it would be the exact same scenario all the time. It'd probably be pretty tough to realize ourselves, actually. We kind of like the changes, you know, the mixing it up. It's kind of nice. It kind of keeps you here, now, present, focused, not too bored. You know, all these things. I tried it myself, you know, I'm a little different. I mean, if you can really watch me, that's terrific. I mean, I'm going to try to figure out if we can get, like, a better station here so I can, like, get the whole hand motion down, all the different things, you know, get some mudras in, kind of help it out. All right. And, yeah, we're just seeing how it goes, trusting the moment and trusting the flow. So Tibetan Buddhism, then, after I was rejected, is how I felt. I felt like I was rejected for smoking. Even though I was allowed to smoke for the first 6 months, I wasn't allowed to stay. But I believed it was because of smoking. But really, man, I mean, I had gotten drunk, peeled through a freaking field in a truck after a friend of mine. I mean, not to run him down, but to catch him and bring him with me to a mountain, Prayer Flag Ridge. It was crazy. I mean, I can't believe I did that. Terribly wasted. So, I mean, really, I mean, I screwed it up. That's all there is to it. You know, I screwed it up. And I'm glad that I did, though. So I drove a friend of mine named Fang to California from there. And we met a friend of hers named Wolf. Well, friends of hers, Wolf and Michael. And they're amazing, phenomenal beings. Michael's a priest, I believe, Santeria tradition, or he practices that. I think it's Santeria. It's an African tradition, really beautiful, really sacred, really pure. And I haven't heard a lot about it, but I was able to be there for a ceremony one time, and it was really gorgeous, a deep blessing, a really amazing honoring. Baba Buaye, I believe, is the name of the deity. And yeah, that's just, wow, how great is that? And so, anyways, I think I mentioned this before. And then Wolf Martinez, he's a phenomenal, amazing brother, phenomenal man, leads men groups and retreats around the world, just activating consciousness. I'm so proud and so happy to know this amazing being, and goodness, do I love him so much. But yeah, these men, you know, it turns out that Wolf was part of the Lakota tradition, practicing the Lakota tradition. He holds a Nipi sweat lodge and pipe ceremonies with the sacred Chinupa, the sacred pipe, and with the Chinupa, the sacred pipe, and that's amazing. So I went to pipe ceremony with them. We heard these animals and all these different things, and I actually thought that he had owned these animals. I was like, wow, he must have cats, you know. But it turns out that he didn't own any animals, and I've never seen a cat at his property, actually. And so it's really interesting that I would have heard these animals during this time, so it was very powerful. They sat in a circle in an equal way. This was very beautiful to me. I was like, okay, I was used to the thrones, and I was feeling kind of less. I was feeling like a servant level in the caste system. I wasn't feeling, you know, equal. I wasn't feeling honored. And so I loved that, even though I could tell that these men were my elders and that I needed to listen to them and respect them and learn from them, and that they had very little to learn from me personally, we still sat on the same level of ground to show that we were equal. And that was really beautiful for me at the time, and where my ego was. I really needed to feel welcomed and equal with somebody so that I could receive their teaching and their information. And so after we stayed for a few days this time, we left, and I eventually came back and lived with them for a little while. And so this implanted in me, you know, different thoughts and feelings between, you know, the Buddhism, Native American culture, and Christianity, Jesus. And these were huge. And when I was in Christianity, I read the Lost Gospels and the Dead Sea Scrolls. I believed in those things. And I tried to bring those things to the church. And I tried to ask my pastor to pray to God and see if these things were true. But in fact, all that he did, he wouldn't even pray to God to see if these were true. He just searched it online. I couldn't believe he did that. I was like, could you pray to God and ask God? And he goes online. I was like, what is that? What are you looking online for? You said you talked to God. Could you talk to God for me or what? You asked the internet. That's not what I said. I can ask the internet. I know how to do that. I come from the information age, the computer days. Anyways, but that was silly, you know. So I didn't have anybody, you know, really go to. I had to seek for myself, I guess. Nobody was really helping me out with any information. They all kept it very secret and hidden. Which it turns out, I don't really understand quite as to why all the way. I mean, there are certain things that I wouldn't share now that I have shared in the past, but I see it not as extremely beneficial unless you can come to a pure heart center before you try to go into these things, because these energies are extremely powerful. So even though I can tell you what I'm doing, it'll be almost impossible for you to do what I'm doing unless you come to the places that I've come to. So there's a lot of things that I am actually able to share that can't possibly hurt you, because unless you come to the true alignment with these energies, you'll never be able to work in the places that I work, which is the heart. And so let's lead us all to the heart. That's really what I want. It's like, how do we get there? How do we get into our own heart? Where is it at? Well, you know, I've already told people a million times, we're 42 minutes into this transmission, and I gotta say, unconditional love for all beings everywhere, without one exception, is the master key to the universe. It is the heart space. It is the closest thing to relate in the English language to the frequency that is the center frequency, that is the heart, that is the bridge between the heavens and the earth, that is the flame that is inside the lotus being the heart, the jewel inside the lotus is the flame that is in the heart. Om Mani Padme Hum. I love Tibetan Buddhism. Again, I would recommend to anybody to seek their teachings. I'm not saying that you need to be a Tibetan Buddhist. I'm not saying that you have to take upon yourself these things. I never did call myself a true Buddhist. I did take refuge. I did take Bodhisattva vows, but I was calling myself a Christian Buddhist. And then I was a Christian Buddhist native guy. I don't know. You could say whatever about that, you know. I love the Buddhism, I love the Tao, I am the way, the truth, and the life, and so are you, and so is he, and so is she, and so is everybody. So are we all. As one. So, the way, the Tao, bro. The Tao, that's what I was saying, really. The Tao. We are the Tao, the great Tao. All is surrendered to the eternal flow of the eternal now. Ha! So unconditional love for all beings everywhere without one exception. If you can't truly embody this frequency, it's not going to work for you, my teachings. Any of the things that I come to bring to you are not going to work without this. This is truly the root and the foundation, this thing that I'm telling you here. Unconditional love for all beings everywhere without one exception. It's unconditional love for all of yourself. Now, all beings everywhere without one exception. Let's say, what are all beings everywhere without one exception? All beings, that means low to high. From the worst to the best, to the greatest to the lowest. Whatever it could be, to the least. Greatest to the least. To the lessest. I just wanted to see what that word sounded like. Lessest. Anyways. So, that means whether you judge it as good or you judge it as bad, as evil, as great, whatever it is all you, it is all a frequency. Now, we can break it down to very simple fashions, you know. I love that Buddhism does that, when we no longer see things as demons and more as emotions within our own body that we could come into harmony with, we can come into allies with. I think that's really beautiful. So, anger, hate, wrath, sadness, loathing, pain, all of these different frequencies. And these are things that maybe we judge to be unpleasant in some way. We judge these things to be negative in some manner, undesirable in some way, and so we reject these things. And, well, that's fine, you know, it's cool. We reject things, okay. But what happens to those things? I mean, say we're made up of all these frequencies, and then it's like, say this one right here is pain, okay? It's funny because it hurt when I did that. So, say this one right here is pain. Okay, what if I try to pull pain away from me? It's an endless string. It's like, God, it's just never going. It just, I keep pulling and it just keeps getting longer and longer and longer and longer. It's just crazy. I don't understand. I want to get it off of here. Okay, maybe if I move everything on this side of it, then I can pull it out of it and separate it and put it somewhere over there. Yeah, that makes sense. Sure, okay, that's cool. But you see, that's like a misconception in some kind of a way, because we're believing that this is the only part of our body. But as it turns out, all of this is our body, okay? Every bit of it. So if all of this is our body, what's going on? Well, it's going to be tough to pull that thing actually truly away, obviously. You know, we kind of need that frequency. It's a wisdom frequency, whatever it happens to be, pain, hate, anger, all these things. So what do we do? How do we release judgment? How do we come into love and forgiveness of all these things? How do we come into gratitude and understanding? Well, we're going to have to seek. We're going to have to seek within ourselves. Like, I saw it. The first thing that I saw it, who am I? What is my purpose? Who am I? What is my purpose? I was trying to take control of my subconscious mind in all my psychedelic experiences. I was trying to search for the truth and the answers in all my psychedelic experiences. Finally, when I set intention in a really good way, that's the thing I wanted to do. I wasn't trying to flip anybody off, but but when I finally set intention in a certain kind of way, a friend taught me how to set intention to be with myself in ceremony, in respect, in reverence. Her name was Reed Metter. And that changed my life forever. I finally had the very first experience that I'd ever had. I had had hundreds of other experiences before this, but it wasn't until that day we had a sacred fire lit, we had everything in a really beautiful and orderly fashion, and we had myself and her there, and she was so complimentary to my energy, and she was so wise and so beautiful, and she was able to help me and bring me into these amazing places by showing me the right way. I didn't know the right way until that day, and when I set intention in the right way, it was immediately greater than any other experience I ever had. I didn't think I was going to be able to handle it. I am so thankful that she was there, because she held me and brought me through that, and without her being there, I would never have made it through that. Oh my goodness. And obviously that would not have occurred without her there either, but it was just, wow, I am so grateful. And we saw a ridiculous amount of phenomenal teachings during that night, and I would love to transfer the data of all these teachings to you, actually. I'm not sure that any of these things could possibly hurt you. I don't think anything could possibly hurt anybody, actually. In fact, and by that I mean, I know that nothing can hurt us. There is no way to cause harm. Everything is perfection, always for us and never against us. And so there's a point in perception that you find that out when harm is no longer possible. And that's an amazing, phenomenal thing. And I would love for you to seek and find the truth of that within yourself, because that's where you got to find it. A lot of people want you to find it in them, and that's okay. I mean, I'm doing my very best to transfer information for you, because you are me, and I love you dearly, and I I'm only motivated to share the truth of my experience to liberate all beings, to bring all of myself into this amazing awareness so that all of us together can be free. I mean, how much fun is it to be free, you know, with yourself when all of yourself isn't there with you? I mean, it's like, oh man, but look, there I am over there having some trouble. You know, I already been through that, so I know what got me out of that trouble. So I feel this great compassion for this being over here. I'm like, man, I know what got me out of this. Maybe if I go over to him and talk to him, say hi, and be like, hey bro, you know, what's going on? Can I talk to you for a second? Mind if I share something with you? I love you with all my heart and my soul, and I just want you to be happy. I want you to have the causes of happiness. Can I help you with that? Is that okay? You need just somebody to listen to? What's going on? You know? What can we do? Nothing? Alright. Well, I'm just going to send you love from my heart then, and just know that you're always in the most amazing and perfect place. I'm not going to limit your expression with my judgment in any way. I'm just going to know that you are the Buddha and a wisdom teacher, and you are just so perfect, you know, and it's amazing. How phenomenal. How can we take ourselves out of those pools of energy that are causing waves to continue rippling and perpetuating the suffering, and just really be there in stillness with everything and really seeing it for what it truly is. And what is it truly? Perfection, baby. It's amazing. There ain't nothing wrong going on, not one thing at all. If we believe there's something wrong going on, man, then we can create that reality all we want. You can see where a lot of people are seeming to do this, but don't worry, it doesn't matter. Just because they're seeming to do this doesn't mean that they are. You don't have to believe that they are. It's not really true. That's not really what's occurring. This is a phenomenal process, or a perfected process that is bringing us into the trueness of ourselves every day in every way. I mean, if there's another way to go, we'd go that other way. This is the way we got, and it's amazing. It's phenomenal. I'm super duper excited about it, and I'm really happy to be here with you now and to be expressing this. And I am so grateful that you allowed me to. Obviously, I could talk for an extremely long time, so I'm wondering if I should maybe settle down for a second, take a break, see what's going on. I don't know if really the gist of this is getting through or not, but you know, I'm not really making decisions either, and so I'm going to trust, just as I do in every other part of my life, that this, as well as absolutely everything else, is also perfection. It's amazing. Releasing all worry, all doubt, all need, all have, and then I can just like really rest in the awareness that is my being. I can just be here present with myself now. I want to look at the world around me. Today I did. I was like looking on Facebook and I was like, whoa dude, this stuff is super heavy. And it makes me like start thinking about, how do I solve this issue? What do I do about this karma that's happening perfectly inside of the world? I'm like, do I change it? What do I do to fix this? Then I start wanting to mess with it. You know, whenever I look at the destruction of the world, it makes me want to put my hand back in that river and start shaking that muddy water around. I'm like, man, that's maybe not the best thing for me to do. I got this amazing teaching through Facebook the other day about a Native American tribes and how they used to have a person in the tribe called the Faith Keeper. And this person would stay in the I am awareness while everything else in the tribe was doing whatever it was. So pretty much what they're doing is they're holding center, they're holding space for everybody. So everybody in the whole tribe could be in a chaotic mess, but as long as that person holds center, everybody's going to come back into that enlightened state of mind. And so that was the job. And so that's what I would like to do, is activate some of our warriors of truth right now, our emissaries of truth, that we get ready for our position in holding that center for all of the world. Because the world is going into chaos. We can't be getting ourselves wrapped up in all that chaotic mess, trying to mess with it. It'd be great for some of us to be able to hold a still point, something for everything to balance on, so that it can come back into its placement in a really smooth and honorable fashion. The more that we're able to anchor this in, the greater that'll be. And so that's a lot of what my teachings are coming through. A lot of my teachings will eventually probably be for the more advanced level being. But we'll see what's going on. I mean, I have a lot of different light code transmissions and a lot of different things to put out, and so that'll probably be my next video, as another type transmission song, or however it is that it comes through. I think we're just going to sit together and kind of learn this at the same time. I don't know if you're willing to come with me on this journey. That's okay if you're not right now. You see, before I was like, oh no, you know, I only got 1 to 2 views, what's going to happen, you know, nobody seems to be very interested. But one day here, there's going to be a lot of people watching these videos, because I'm pretty freaking spectacular. So stick with me, baby. We've got this. Alright, well, I love you all, and I'm super excited, super happy, and super grateful to be talking to you always and forever. And I think that you're the most amazing, perfect expression that you could ever possibly be right now in this moment. Don't need to change anything to do that. Thank you for everything, my dear friends. Let go of the stories. You're all one. You're the most amazing ever. I love you.